Hi guys! Today I'm doing a cheers to you with some Diet Dr. Pepper and some Diet Ginger Ale. I have not drank one sip of alcohol for 2 months. The last time that I drank was October 3rd, 2020. I went out to dinner that night and I had probably 4 Prosecco's, 4 glasses of Prosecco like this. And I did a shot of something. I don't even remember. Shots were bought, grabbed a shot, did a shot. So I had about 5 drinks and I continued drinking that night after I got home until 5 a.m. Passed out from drinking, woke up the next morning with a bottle of Prosecco by my bed that was empty. I woke up the next day in excruciating pain. My head was killing me, my stomach was killing me. I felt disgusting. I just felt like, again, I lost hours, I lost time in the day. My emotions took over. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about my journey with alcohol. I am sharing this because I know that a lot of people also struggle with alcohol. And even if you don't, even if you know someone that does, I really think it's important for you to understand what people like me go through that do have a non-healthy relationship with alcohol. So I never drank. Even when I was a kid and all my friends were drinking, I remember sitting there nursing a beer, pretending to take a sip, just trying to kind of fit in with my friends. I just never liked how it made me feel. So I got pregnant with my first son when I was 16 years old. He will actually be 35 years old on December 2nd. Then I had my next son when I was 19 and my daughter when I was 22. If I went out at all, I may have this is when I was a vegetarian. I eat vegan now, but when I was vegetarian, I would get Kahlua and milk, which is basically all milk with a splash of Kahlua. It's like nothing, and I would have a couple sips. I remember looking around and thinking like, why don't people know how to stop? Like if I even got a twinge of a little buzz or a little foggy headed, I'd be like, nah, I'm done. I just didn't like the feeling. The ironic thing is, every man that I had a serious relationship with, that I lived with, the father of my children, all drank. I don't like labels, you guys, so I'm gonna try not to use the words like labeling myself or anyone else as an alcoholic, having alcoholism. I'm just going to say did not have a healthy relationship with alcohol, because I'm not here to label anyone. And there's a lot of different ways of looking at people's relationship with alcohol. So the men I was with either had drug or alcohol problems, a not healthy relationship with alcohol, or both. There was one time that I was going through a breakup. My kids were young and it was a really hard breakup. My kids were away for the weekend. I went out and I had not eaten all week. I remember I had like 3 cherries out of like the jar of cherries. I had 3 cherries that night before I went out, and I had not eaten all week just because I was going through such a hard breakup and I was just heartbroken and just feeling like a mess inside. I went out that night, which I never did, and I had shots at the bar. I don't remember how many, maybe 2, 3 on a completely empty stomach, never drinking. I remember sitting there at the bar. Everything was blurry. I could not see across the bar at all. And I remember looking over to this girl I knew. She wasn't really a friend, but she was someone I knew. And I'm like, I can't see. Like, can you help me home? And I remember she like took my arm and helped me out and drove me home. I remember vaguely stumbling to my front door, walking in, pulling off my clothes and plopping my face, like my whole body and my face, flat into the mattress of my bed. I couldn't move. I was feeling like I was literally going to die. I know I had alcohol poisoning. My body was paralyzed, face down on my mattress. I was trying to call 911. My arm wouldn't move. I was paralyzed. I never knew this was even a thing or this could even happen to you, but I could not move my body. I remember what was going through my head was, I don't even drink, and my kids are going to hear that their mother died of alcohol poisoning, and I wasn't even a drinker. All of a sudden, I start projectile vomiting just alcohol. There was nothing in my stomach, nothing came out. It was pure alcohol, but I couldn't move my head. I was literally face down in my mattress, vomiting in my own face over and over and over with my whole body paralyzed. I woke up the next day, everything soaked in vomit, pure alcohol, not it wasn't even colored, like not one piece of food or anything. It was just soaked with alcohol from vomiting. It's almost like because I was hurting emotionally so bad, I just hurt myself even more. Doesn't make sense. Maybe it makes sense to some of you if you've ever felt that way, but that's the last time I can remember drinking and getting drunk to the point of I was scared. So never really drank. Then I met my first ex-husband, who is a drinker, heavy drinker, and I remember there was another time that, and I never drank. I was going through a lot of surgeries while we were together, so I really wasn't a drinker. I was just always around drugs and alcohol, but I never did it myself except for very randomly. I remember we were at a party and I was having these sherbet drinks with alcohol in them. Again, got so hammered. So I guess you would call it binge drinking, because I just had no desire to drink, would go days, months, weeks, years without drinking, and then I would binge drink, and maybe it was like nothing compared to some people. Like I might have had 2, 3, 4 drinks and I was blackout, puking, like couldn't remember anything. So my body just never could handle it when I did drink. So same thing, passed out, throwing up. Then again, I would go years without drinking, without thinking about it. Then, so I was with my first ex-husband for 14 years, and when our marriage started falling apart, I started drinking, and it was not something that I had ever gone to before on a consistent basis. I just felt like I was in so much pain and so lost. I just wanted moments of escaping that pain, and my body would suffer. Like it would take me 3 days to recover from drinking. Even if I had 3 or 4 drinks, it would take me days to recover. I would lose time. I would black out. If I was emotional already and say like holding in sad feelings or something that was upsetting me, everything came out when I was drinking. I would get very emotional. I would start crying. I would be irrational. But if I would drink and I was feeling happy and inside everything was great, I was the funnest drunk ever. Like I was the life of the party. I would be dancing. I would be like, whoa, like just crazy woman. I just had to move my body. I just had to laugh. I just wanted to hug everyone, love everyone, like just be like, hey girl, like come give me a hug, and just super, super, super like lovey, upbeat, dancing, fun, laughing. Like I was one of those people that like was just like, I didn't care. I was just like a little kid again, just like going wild. So yeah, if I was happy, that is what would happen. If I had something that was bothering me, or someone that was being mean to me or something like that, I couldn't emotionally or rationally deal with those emotions when I was drinking, which is completely different because I can handle it always if I'm sober. Like I'm a very strong, rational, confident person just naturally, but you add alcohol to that and I'm a hot mess, you guys. Like I'm not rational and the emotion takes over. So my relationship with alcohol was never something where I was so addicted that I had to have it every day to feel normal. I actually did not feel normal when I was drinking. I was totally not myself. I was not, it actually gave me more anxiety to drink or think about drinking because I knew I was gonna lose days of recovery. I was worried about blacking out and losing hours. I was just worried about everything. I actually thought that drinking was helping my anxiety, but all it was doing is making my anxiety worse. I would go through, after drinking, I would be so much more anxious. I would feel depressed. I would feel sad. I would just have these feelings inside that alcohol would like mess with my emotions. Then I was thinking, okay, the next time I go out, if I didn't feel like going out, or if I was a little anxious about it, or if I was nervous about it, or if it wasn't really something I wanted to do, I always knew that drinking alcohol could make anything fun. It could override any feelings of anxiety I had, but I would have to get that to that level of drinking where you kind of cross that line. If any of you have ever drank to the point where you get a really good buzz, you know what I'm talking about, where you actually cross that line between you're there 1 minute and the next minute you're not there. There are people that drink and will literally pass out, or there are people who black out and just fall asleep and pass out. That happens to my mind, but my body keeps going. So I will not be there. Like I can go through dancing, talking, my body is still going. I'm still talking, I'm still alert, I'm still everything, but I have no idea what's going on. None. Like it's blackout. It's like I'm a robot or a zombie. No different than someone who actually is passed out like this because I have no idea what's going on, but my body is still moving. That's just how I react to alcohol. So have there been times that I would go out and have one drink? Absolutely. But more times than not, I go out and I cannot stop. I cannot stop. I have tried everything. I have tried moderating. I have tried rationalizing it. I have tried making sure that I eat a ton of food before I start drinking. I have limited myself to 3 drinks for the whole entire night. That's all I'm allowing myself. I have said 0 hard alcohol. I would only drink Prosecco was my drink of choice. I would play these games with my mind. It never worked, you guys. Never worked. So my drinking really got out of control. And again, this is not everyday drinking, which I'm not saying one is worse than the other. I'm not saying an everyday drinker who never really looks drunk is any worse or better than someone like me who would drink once or twice a week and get hammered. Neither one is any better than the other. It's still putting poison into your body. It's still toxic to your body. So after my divorce, I got into a relationship and was living with a guy that was really into going out all the time and partying, a lot of drinking, and I never lived that lifestyle. Like, I remember we would go to these dumpy little bars and I was like, we're in a bar. And here I was like 40 years old when I first start drinking, and I was acting like a 21-year-old college kid because I had never gone through that. I never was a drinker, like I said, raising my kids or anything like that. Maybe once or twice I can remember before I was 40 years old that I ever got drunk, and it was just like, ugh, what did I do? It was like an accident type of thing. So we went through like 4 years of a relationship that was on again, off again, on again, off again, and we were actually engaged twice, and it was like a nonstop party. So towards the end of our relationship, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I have to stop drinking. And I knew that I had to, it was the only way that I could be rational and heal from what I was going through. It's like when we were trying to break up and I would go out and drink, I would drunk dial. I would go back to him. I just was not rationally thinking. So I said to myself at that point, I am done drinking until I heal. I was not stopping drinking forever. I was just like, okay, I have to heal with no alcohol. So that was the point in my life that I started reading all the self-help books. I was healing, I was volunteering, I was taking classes. I was just working on me, like hardcore working on myself for just about a year. I stayed single. I was working really hard on myself. I was doing great, not drinking at all. I was still going out with my friends to bars and stuff, and I was totally fine. Like, once I make up my mind to do something, I am hardcore all in. So then I met this guy, and I'm like, okay, I'm healed. I feel good. Like, I didn't have that, like, you know, old aching feeling from my ex, and I felt like I was healed. And I went out with this guy a couple times, and I had my first drink, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I can drink again. Wrong. I would get hammered. I would black out. My recovery was like horrible. I would lose hours in the day. It just was like, here we go again. But I kept doing it because he was a heavy drinker. He was someone who drank straight up vodka before he went to bed every night and like at dinner. So it was like I was getting in relationships with men that were heavy drinkers. I feel like when I was drinking, I did not respect myself. I wasn't showing myself love. I was making choices that I never, ever, ever would have made if I was sober. I did not feel like I was emotionally my best, and I did learn not to beat myself up. I knew I was going to figure this out. I'm always looking at the positive in everything, and I knew this was just some kind of journey or lesson that I needed to go through in my life, and I would figure it out. But honestly, you guys, I was feeling like I don't want to give up alcohol. I want to find a way to moderate it. I wanted to figure out how to be one of those people who could go out to dinner and have 1 or 2 glasses of Prosecco, and that's it. But I'm telling you guys, nothing will work. It will keep getting worse and worse and worse. If you are someone who needs to try to moderate or rationalize or play head games with yourself or try to figure it out so that you're not getting drunk and you're not drinking too much to feel crappy the next day, or to do things that you wouldn't normally do, or control your drinking, if you have to play games with yourself, it's never gonna get better. That is what I finally realized, is that I am done playing these games with myself. I am done thinking that I can moderate my drinking. I can't. Even if I can go out once in a while and only have 1 or 2 glasses of Prosecco, there are so many other times where I can't stop. I cannot stop. It's not like I'm just saying, oh yeah, I'm making a choice to keep drinking. I get to that point and something happens inside of me that I cannot stop drinking. I am not even there anymore. And I finally realized that even one more time of not being able to control how much I drink is too much. I'm done. I'm not taking a break from alcohol. I am done forever. I am no longer a drinker. It's that simple. I just don't drink anymore. I'm gonna go onto social media and I'm gonna look at some of your questions that you asked and give you some answers to better understand my journey with alcohol. And I'm really, really hoping that this can help some of you figure out your relationship with alcohol. This question is from Rachel Davis, 2001. Does it bother you to go out or be around people who are drinking? Nope, not at all. There has only been one time in the past 2 months since I stopped drinking that I was really, really wanting to drink. It was actually the day I found out that my uncle died, and I was going out with my boyfriend who also does not drink anymore. So if you have a partner or a friend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife that wants to quit drinking with you, it really just is a wonderful thing to have someone to go through the same thing with, someone who you can talk to about the emotions that you're having and the feelings that you're having. Like I said, the first time that I stopped drinking for almost a year, I did that completely on my own and still hung out with all my friends that were drinking. But this time doing it with my boyfriend, it's just, it was a decision that I made first, totally on my own. And I told him that I was done drinking. And immediately, like, he did not skip a beat. As soon as I said, I'm not drinking anymore, he was immediately like, I'm with you, but I need one more week. I was like, I was on the phone when I told him. So my jaw just dropped on the other end of the phone. I was like, like he really doesn't want to drink anymore either, because I completely did this for myself. I did not expect him to stop drinking. I had no expectations whatsoever. This was just a decision that I made on my own. So he did. We still went out that week and hung out with friends, and everyone was drinking except for me. He was drinking, I was not. And he went one full week after me. So he's also been 2 months minus 1 week. And yeah, after 1 week, that's it. He just didn't drink anymore. It really has brought us so much closer together. We have been officially dating for 6 months. So I would say in the past 2 months that we've been together sober, we have become so much closer and learned so much more about each other. And yeah, it's an amazing thing. So no, it does not bother me to be around people that drink at all, but that is just me. My boyfriend and I hang out with our friends who drink, and it's not a problem for either one of us. But there are some people who need to distance themselves from people who drink, so that really is a personal decision. But for myself, I'm totally good with that. I don't drink, and it's almost embarrassing to see how some people act when they drink. Some act totally normal, others cry, some like to fight, some get loud, and some are actually really funny. I was a really fun drunk, you guys. Really fun. I was either really fun and like, woohoo, party time, or I was emotional and crying. So I was one or the other. I was never an angry drunk. So yeah, that's how I was. I've been married to 2 high functioning alcoholics, which is weird because I was not raised around alcohol. I wish the best for you, and I am inspired that you are putting your health and yourself first. Thank you so much. This question is from Proud Mom 90s. Do you think your alcoholism had to do with your divorce and or failed relationships? Again, I am not labeling myself as an alcoholic. I actually looked this up before I did this video. The definition of an alcoholic is someone who is physically dependent on alcohol every day, that they cannot feel normal without alcohol. That was not me at all. I would go days, months, weeks, years without drinking. If you need to define my relationship with alcohol, it would absolutely be a binge drinker because I was not an everyday drinker. And like I said, I would go long periods of time without drinking, without thinking about it. I never drank at home alone unless I had gone out and already started drinking and crossed that line. And then if I came home, I would continue drinking. But I would never just sit down and have a glass of wine with dinner or watch a movie and have a glass of wine if I was alone. I would never, ever, ever do that. So to define alcoholic just means that you are physically dependent on it. And there are a lot of alcoholics who are physically dependent on alcohol, and you could never tell that they're drinking. They seem totally normal because your body starts building up a tolerance to it. My body had zero tolerance to alcohol. I was like like a kid who just drank for the first time is how my body would respond to alcohol. Do you think your alcoholism had to do with your divorce and or failed relationships? Well, my first divorce, I was not a drinker at all until the end, until our marriage started falling apart. So no, that had nothing to do with it. He was a drinker, which I would say did have a lot to do with why we got divorced, but I was not a drinker at that time. My second divorce, we both equally drank when we went out. It was never like we would sit home and drink type of thing. So alcohol did not play a huge part in our marriage. As far as failed relationships, before I was 40, I wasn't a drinker. Like I said, the men I was with were drinkers. I was not. So that had nothing to do with any failed relationships. So I would say, even though I did drink from the time I was 40 until 2 months ago, which I was 52, on my 52nd birthday, it would have been 30 days sober. So I'm now 60 days sober. Even though some relationships didn't work within that time frame, I wouldn't say that the basis of any of those relationships ending directly had to do with alcohol. Let's see. I thought traveling made you sick. Oh, this is on a post that I just did. Yes, traveling does. And I wear the motion sickness patches. And when I'm doing a quick flight, I do much, much better. You're probably talking about when I went to Aruba, and that was a crazy long flight with a layover, and you had to take off and land, and then take off and land again. And yes, I do get sick with traveling, but I do much better with shorter flights. Thirsty. Okay. I'm skipping over the other questions right now. I'm just answering the alcohol questions right now. Did you go through withdrawals once you stopped? No, not at all, because I was not physically addicted to alcohol. It was just more of a mental thing and binge drinking. So no withdrawals at all. Was the alcohol a way to deal with loneliness? No, actually, just the opposite. I would only drink when I was out socializing. And if I ever did drink alone, I would feel so lonely. So it had just the opposite effect on me. It was more of a social thing. So no, that's not why I drank. Actually, what I felt when I would drink a lot is just all my inhibitions would go down. I would just feel totally happy and just carefree and just loving life, just like when I was a child. And I've really been working on getting back to that state where picture like a little 1 or 2 year old kid. Just the music comes on and they're just like, woo, they're just having a blast and they're so funny and they're just like dancing around. And sometimes it looks like a little drunk person, right? Because they're just letting loose and that carefree inner child. That is what I felt like when I drank. And that is what I want to get back to. Like we would all still be that carefree, happy, singing, dancing child if we were not domesticated and we were not taught to not do that anymore, that it's not appropriate. I want to be carefree. I want to sing when I want to sing. I want to dance when I want to dance. I want to get that carefree inner child back where I was just high on life and I was happy and just that carefree, awesome feeling that I could only achieve with lots of alcohol. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, is to get back to that place of that euphoric happiness when I was a child with no alcohol. Tracy says, honestly, at 51, I just can't drink anymore. I feel so crappy the next day. Not sure if it's an age thing, a personal issue, or what. Tracy, that is just what alcohol does to you. I feel like what I have found is people that are daily drinkers, when they build up a tolerance to alcohol, I have a lot of people that I know that are daily drinkers and they're like, I never get a hangover. I feel fine. I feel great. But it's because they're so used to feeling like that. That's their normal. Like they're drinking every day to feel normal, and then they get up the next day and they continue drinking to feel normal. That's their normal. But if they stopped drinking and their body started recovering and healing from that poison, they would be like, oh my gosh, now this is what feeling good really is like. So I feel like there's nothing wrong with you. It's what's wrong is trying to put poison into your body and expect to feel great. Like it's a temporary thing. And like I said, very different ways of having relationships with alcohol, where being an alcoholic, which means that you are physically addicted to it and you need it to feel normal, versus binge drinking like I was, where I didn't even think about it or care about it except for when I went out, but I would drink to the point of blackout and I would get myself so sick. So there's very different ways of having relationships with alcohol, and neither of them are healthy or good. So that's one of the reasons that I'm like, yeah, I'm done trying to figure out a way to make this poison work in my body. There's nothing good about alcohol that lasts more than a few minutes for me. I have to be 100% honest to you. I don't trust sober people. Okay, well, that pretty much tells me that there is some experience that you've been through with someone who is sober and they have betrayed you and you don't trust them, because that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't trust drunk people because they're not rational when they're drinking. I wasn't rational when I was drinking. People that drink, your decision making is not good and you're not rational. So I don't even know how to answer that. That must just be a personal thing that happened. It has to be a balance in life, and alcohol is just another thing that people put out there like it's the worst. But what about binging on food or in relationships? Some people can't be alone. They have to be jumping from partner to partner, or drugs, or impulsive shopping, and the list goes on. I agree, there are many, many things that a person can be addicted to, and I actually did a post on my Instagram just exactly about that addiction is addiction and a drug is a drug. And I 100% agree with that. I never said that drinking was the worst thing. Any kind of addiction is not good. Absolutely, I agree with you. Moderation is the key. This is what people should be working on. This I completely do not agree, because I have tried to moderate alcohol, and there is no reason in this world that I want to continue trying to figure out a way to moderate putting a poison into my body. Why? For what reason? It gives me nothing positive in my life. There is nothing good from alcohol. So, in that sense, I do not agree with you that moderation is the key. This is what people should be working on. No, no. Alcohol is a drug. Alcohol is mind altering. Alcohol does nothing good for you whatsoever. There are people who have no problem with alcohol, just like people have no problem with food. No, some people have no problem with what else did you say? Relationships, or on and on and on. There is no way to moderate alcohol when you have an alcohol problem or a bad relationship with alcohol. There were a lot of people leaving comments. Alcohol doesn't go well with us who have Hashimoto's or autoimmune disease. Alcohol is a drug, a depressant. So people that don't drink, you should applaud them. They're sober, they're of full mind and body. I totally agree. It is a drug, it is a depressant. I'm not saying it's not a drug. So if you're agreeing that alcohol is a drug, how could you say that the thing to do is to moderate this drug? That doesn't make sense to me. Very confusing, very confusing post. But obviously there's more that you've been through that has to do with people that drink or don't drink. So I get it. We don't know your whole story. What I'm saying is that many other things are a drug as well. I agree. Moderation, I don't agree. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna go on because I don't get into the drama, guys, but the bottom line is, if you have a bad relationship with alcohol, it is a drug, it is a depressant, it is a mind altering substance. And if you even have to ask yourself any of these questions, like, how can I make this work? How can I find a way to drink? How can I find a way to drink like a normal person? I would seriously consider just not drinking anymore. And that's the point that I got to. There's just nothing good about it. I feel so much better, you guys. I feel so much more productive. I have so many more hours in the day. I don't get that anxiety anymore. I don't get that depression. I don't get that sadness. Like, it has completely transformed my life to know that I will never be putting that poison in my body again. All right, let's check out Facebook. How many years did you drink? Did something bad happen to make you stop? Do you get cravings? What works to get? Okay, so how many years did you drink? I started drinking when I was 40 years old. I am now 52, and on my 52nd birthday, I was 30 days sober. Did something bad happen to make you stop? Yeah, everything bad happened. There was nothing good about it. I would black out. I would lose hours of the day. It would rip my stomach apart. It was poisoning my body. Like, there's nothing good about it. I was making bad decisions. I was having anxiety. I was having depression. I was feeling sadness. I was feeling confusion about my life. And yeah, everything bad about alcohol. Did you get cravings? No, I never got cravings, never got physical cravings, but I actually never even finished answering this question about the one time that I really wanted to drink the night that my uncle died. I'm so grateful that I was with my boyfriend when I was feeling that way because, like I said, he stopped drinking as well. So I was telling him the whole time, I'm like, oh my God, I want to drink so bad. Like, this is so bad. And he was just being super supportive. And we ended up having a great night together. But that whole night, I wanted to drink so bad, but it was mental. I mentally wanted to drink. What works to get past the cravings? I personally look at every single bad thing that has ever happened to me when I was drinking. I think about the negative feelings that I felt when I was drinking. Would think about the stupid things I would do when I was drinking, or just anything negative. I just focus on that, and I think about what I'm doing now that is positive. Like, I am treating my body so much better. Like, I'm not putting that poison into my body anymore. I'm moving my body more. I'm eating even healthier than I was before. I feel so much better. So I focus on that. I focus on everything, like being present, remembering things, and especially my relationship with my boyfriend. Like, we remember every moment now. It's no more like spending drunk time together. It's like deep and meaningful, and like we're growing together. It's just a beautiful thing. There are so many wonderful things when you're not clouded by alcohol, whether you're just drinking enough to feel normal or if you're binge drinking like I was. There's so many beautiful things that we don't even realize about life when we're clouding our mind and poisoning our body with alcohol. Do you have transfer addiction since giving up alcohol? Thank you. Transfer addiction. Well, the funny thing is, I would say the first few weeks of stopping drinking, I was drinking an insane amount of caffeine. Like, so much coffee, it was ridiculous. I was actually getting myself sick from too much coffee. I was just feeling nauseous. And every time I would go out, instead of drinking alcohol, I would drink Diet Pepsi, which I know it's pure chemicals, and I never would put that into my body unless I go out. Just something that I wanted to do. I was like chasing that caffeine buzz when I was out. Everyone was drinking and getting an alcohol buzz, so I was trying to get a caffeine buzz. I have way, way, way cut that back, and if I go out, I am getting a Diet Pepsi and a club soda. So I'm making sure that I'm not overdosing with caffeine. But other than that, no. I am, instead of replacing my alcohol with something bad, I am trying to replace alcohol with doing good things for my body. 14 years no alcohol for me. You will never regret it. That's awesome, Christine. I do not regret it, and I never will. Thank you guys for these great comments. Elizabeth Ann Cook, many people use alcohol to numb anxiety, feelings, etc. How would you personally handle anxiety without it? Elizabeth, like I said, alcohol was actually giving me anxiety. My anxiety, I would say, is more than 90% better. I would say it's 95% better. And I noticed that almost right away. Like, my anxiety was better within the first week or two of not drinking. And I just keep feeling better and better and better. I've had no moments of feeling depressed. I'm sleeping better. I'm waking up in the morning feeling like more happy and rested and motivated. It just really, I can't even believe that I ever got to that point of drinking so much every time that I went out. And yeah, I feel amazing. Teresa says, hi, Lisa. Yes, please talk about how you quit drinking. I want to, but I am struggling. Thank you so much for always being so encouraging. Teresa, hang in there. I feel like once you get in your mind that you want to do it, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. I'm actually thinking about doing more posting about me quitting drinking, and as I go through it, like things that I'm doing. Let me know what you guys think. Like, if you have any more questions for me, what I can do is just keep posting videos like this, and then I can keep doing more videos on your comments, on any questions that you have. I would love to go through this journey of sobriety together with you guys, or just help you out. Or if you guys know anyone who is struggling with alcohol, you can share this video with them, or at least it will help you be aware of what they're going through while they're trying to quit. Even if you have any questions about what should you do if someone in your life is drinking and you're not, or that type of thing, maybe we can start like a little series here of just supporting each other, and any questions that you have, I'll answer. If you guys like that idea, please leave the comments down below. And yeah, I think that would be a really great idea to go through this journey together. This comment is from Veronica. I was so shocked to hear about your alcohol journey. I would love to hear your story and how it positively affected your life, especially skin-wise. I'd also like to know more about your story with smoking and how that affected you as well. As far as alcohol, I pretty much just told you my whole journey. Of course, when you stop drinking, your skin is going to be more hydrated. Your whole entire body is going to be more hydrated. So your skin automatically will look better. As far as smoking, it's so crazy. It's like, I can't believe I was ever a smoker. I can't believe I was ever a drinker. It's just, I guess I just needed to go through those things in my life so that I can relate to more people and share this with you guys. So I did smoke. Probably the first time I smoked, I was like 13 years old. I remember practicing inhaling a cigarette behind the garage. So I smoked a significant amount every day. For about 20 years, but I did take breaks, so it was like on and off. I did not smoke through having my children. I have 3 children. They're all about almost 3 years apart. So I never went back to smoking. I never smoked when I had my children, but I did start smoking when my youngest child, my daughter, was 1. I think she was about 1. So I was like 23. So I smoked from when I was 23 till about 43. So 20 years on and off. I had tried to quit so many times, so many times. And I tried everything. I tried the gum, I tried the patch, I tried I forget the name of it. It's a pill. I don't know. I forget the name of it. If I remember, I'll pop it up here for you guys. But I tried a pill. I tried vaping. Oh my gosh, I had the worst reaction to vaping. My whole mouth was full of blisters. I had rash on my body. I was like jonesing for the nicotine vape. That was a horrible thing. Until finally I just came to the point where I was like, I'm going to try this one more time. And if I don't quit, I'm going to die a smoker, because the first 72 hours of quitting smoking suck. It is so hard. Like, your body is physically addicted to the nicotine for 72 hours. But think about it, you guys. It doesn't matter if you've smoked for a total of a week or your whole entire life. Say you smoked for 50 years. Either way, the nicotine is 100% out of your body in 72 hours. That is something really, really, really exciting and really interesting about when I was doing research to figure out like how to do this, how to quit smoking. So I just feel like the easiest way personally for me was I just weaned down. So I was smoking, say, a pack a day. Then I would cut down to, a few days later, I would cut down to a half a pack a day. And then a few days later, I would cut down to a quarter of a pack. And I just kind of weaned myself off until finally I was just like, okay, this is my last cigarette. I'm done. 72 hours, find things to do. I would say move your body, get out there, go for walks. Keep yourself busy, do anything positive that you can possibly do. Get a jar, save. If you say you smoked a pack a day, and I don't even know how much cigarettes cost now, $5, $10, I don't know. So, but every day take a $10 bill and throw it into the jar. Instead of buying your pack of cigarettes, you're saving yourself 10 bucks a day. So do things like that to keep you motivated, and just know that after 72 hours, it is 100% mental. It is just the habit in your brain that you need to break. So start creating new healthy habits. So instead of when you wake up and have your cup of coffee and grab your cigarette, maybe have your cup of coffee and go for a walk, or just find ways. There are so many support groups online for smoking. And again, this was like almost 10 years ago, so I don't remember what site it was, but I found this website where it told you like how long you had gone without smoking. And now I don't even remember the exact time or whatever, but play little games with yourself, do positive things. You can totally do it. Make up your mind and replace the bad habits, whether it's alcohol or cigarettes or drugs or anything like that. Replace those habits with things that are good for your body and your mind and your soul, and just switch it all around. And it's just all about a habit. It's changing that habit from something that is not good for you to something that is making your life so much better. I just found your channel in the last few days. I'm a mom of 2 boys and 41 now. You have motivated to keep my promises to myself with self-care. That's amazing. It has been important to me, especially now with all the things going on. I have gone back to eating vegan, making sure to take care of my skin better, exercising regularly, drinking plenty of water, not drinking a glass of wine or 2 each day, and journaling. I'm trying my best to keep on top of these for myself, and it means a lot to me. I do have a recommendation. I love books by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap and The Joy of Genius. I do love Audible, and I love that if I have a book I truly do not love, I can replace it. That is amazing. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. Like, you make a promise to yourself and you keep it. There's no way that I could ever be my best self if I continued drinking. I knew there was something holding me back. I knew that I had to get a grip on my drinking, and I thought for a long time that I could moderate it, that I could find a way to find that balance with alcohol, but there is no balance. There's no place for it in my life. It does not serve me. It does not help me. I'm done. I want to be my best self. I want to feel my best. I want to look my best. I want to do my best, and I can't do that with alcohol in my life. Liz says, what are the exact steps you took to say goodbye to alcohol for good? After that last night that I drank, and woke up the next day and had continued on drinking from dinner time until 5 a.m. and woke up with that bottle next to my bed and feeling like I had just been run over by a truck. I didn't even make the decision right then and there. I took the rest of the weekend and a few days, and I was so emotional. I cried all weekend. I was sobbing. I was just like, I can't do this to myself anymore. I feel like that was my rock bottom. That was one time too many of doing that to myself. It was just like, I'm done. I'm done feeling like this. I'm done trying to figure this out. It's just, I don't want alcohol part of my life anymore. I'm done with it. It was really that simple. And I'm like, my mind was playing games with me. I was just like, but I don't want to give it up. It numbs my physical pain better than any pain pill, better than any drug, better than anything that I have ever taken. And I actually went through withdrawal of morphine and so many other drugs before. And I was even strictly taking those by doctor's orders. I was taking them when I was going through all my back surgeries. And after my first back surgery, like the worst surgery that I had, I was like, I'm done. And they doubled my dose of morphine as I was healing from my surgery. I'm like, no, I'm never taking pain pills again. So since then, and that was in 2003, the only time I ever take pain pills is if I'm going through a surgery. I give myself 1 week of pain pills no matter what, and that is it. So I have tried every drug to get rid of my back pain, which I still do deal with a lot of pain after a near death accident, getting hit by a car in the back while I was walking. So I've gone through so many surgeries, and alcohol was one of the things where I felt free from my physical pain. And I would push my body to the limit, but I wouldn't feel it. Well, that's not really true. It's like I would feel it, but I didn't care. I just kept going. Like it was almost like an anesthetic on my all of my physical pain, and I would dance like a crazy woman, but I would pay for it. It was bad sometimes. I would wake up not able to move, and I would literally wake up with cuts, bruises, bumps on my head, no idea where they came from. I would beat the shit out of myself, and I had no idea how I did it or what I did, and didn't remember any of it. But boy, I sure remembered it for a week after, while I was healing from cuts and bumps and bruises, and um, hurting my back and my neck and my knees, and yeah. So there were so many negative things that happened to me when I was drinking that it was really easy to go back in my mind and think, oh no, no, you're not going to do this to yourself anymore. So basically, it was just, what was your actual question? What was the exact steps you took to say goodbye to alcohol for good? It was basically just a mindset. I'm done. It was that simple. All right, guys, so that's about all of the questions that I have time for in this video. Like I said, if you guys are interested in me posting more about quitting alcohol and just taking care of yourself, let's start a little series here. So if you like that idea, just leave your questions down in the comments below, and I will just continuously, with every video, I will take your questions and I will keep creating more videos, and we can all do this together, you guys. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos. You can also click the little bell next to the subscribe button to be notified of all of the videos that I upload. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Bye.